Alright guys, I got a 2017 F350 single rear wheel. The enormous cab, and it's a short bed. So I'm making this video because I'd like to share some experiences that I had. All the diagrams that I had or that I could find online did not match up. I measured out the holes and I knew it wasn't going to work. It just didn't seem right, and everything was about an inch or just a little over off, which an inch drilling 4 3-inch holes and one 4 1/4 inch hole in the bed of your truck is going to cause some serious issues. So this is the end result. And part of my issue was I bought this truck used. It had a sprayed in bed liner, Line-X bed liner, which covered up the dimples that the factory put in there to help guide you in drilling these holes. Okay, so one of the issues that we had was the measurements, because I purchased this truck used, and while the dimples are in there, there was a spray-in bed liner added, a Line-X bed liner, which covered up the dimples, so I had no pilot hole or dimple to start my pilot hole to start drilling these holes, which made the beginning of this a little bit scary. So what I did was I went underneath, and the dimples you can feel on the bottom side of the bed, and I drilled the center one. I couldn't get to the other 4 for the 5th wheel hitch, but I could get to the gooseneck, so I drilled out that center one all the way up. So now I had a starting point, because all the measurements that I found online were incorrect. I measured from the bed right here at the end to the center hole, and it was probably about an inch off, so that could have caused some pretty big issues when I went to go put the bed back on. So what we came up with, as I kind of did the math myself, that's how my brain works, and these are the measurements we came up with from the rear of the bed with the spray-in bed liner. Once I punched out that new center pilot hole, it's 45 3/4 of an inch from the end of the bed right here to the center of that hole. Let's see if it'll focus, for the gooseneck. And then for these holes that are closest to me, to the rear of the bed, it is 38 7/16 of an inch to the center. And then for the front holes, or the ones closest to the cab, it's 51 7/16. Once again, from here to the center point. And then what I did was, it is 15 inches from the center hole out each direction. So 15 inches from here to here, and from here to here. So I marked those out, and then I measured from here to here to make sure it was 30 inches all the way across, on both sides. And then I drilled out all 4 of those holes before I cut out the 4 holes that you'll see in some of the photos. And I prayed that that was correct. I propped up my bed, installed the brackets, went through the whole thing, and it actually comes with pins to keep, for the newer one, not the old 5th wheel gooseneck prep package, but the newer comes with pins, so I don't see the point in not tightening everything down, because it's not going to allow you to move it anyways. There's really not a lot of give, so you're either right or you're wrong. So put everything on there, tightened everything down to torque specs as it shows in these instructions. and put the bed on, which the bed also sits in pins on the front, right up in the front corner on both sides, so there's no moving the bed around either too much. I just made sure that all my bed bolts lined up and that I could still tighten them down, and there was somewhat equal space all the way around the pucks and then the center hole for the gooseneck hitch. So the reason why I had to do this is because now that they've started adding the dimples to the beds from the factory, they don't give you the dimensions on where these are supposed to be. They just tell you that there's a dimple here, 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 all these locations, and to use a hole saw and cut them out 3 inch, 3 inch, 3 inch, 3 inch, and then a 4 1/4. So that's what I did because of the spray and bed liner. I also, after I went and looked at a fifth wheel today, the guy told me that his wiring harness was a lot further to the front, and he has to climb in the bed of his truck to hook it up every time. So instead of doing that, he always just runs the cable over the tailgate and hooks it up to the 7-pin that's already near the bumper. So after listening to that, I decided I'm going to put mine closest to the rear. So I use a 2 1/8 hole saw to drill that hole, and then did little pilot holes for the screws, and then hooked all that up. So the newer fifth wheel hitches do come with a wiring harness. I had a guy at a Loveland Ford dealership actually kind of yell at me and tell me that that is incorrect. And then I went to the Fort Collins dealership and they said that it also did not come with it. But then he showed me a book and said, here's the hitch, and in the writing it sat there and said that it was it came with the wiring harness. So I went back, opened it up, and it sure enough comes with the wiring harness. That saves you another $90 to $100 from purchasing that thing. So now my F350 short bed is ready to drop in the hitch that I purchased, which is the Demco 21K, because I just would rather be safe than sorry and have something that can handle the extra weight, because I get a bigger fifth wheel. Auto slider, the Hijacker auto slider. So now I just pop off these plastic caps at each of those puck locations, because the hitch that I ordered comes with the bars that just drop into each hole, and then you fold them over and they lock into place. They're set up for the Ford Super Duty fifth wheel gooseneck prep package already, so it should be just a plug and play for the hitch when that comes. So when that comes, I will show you guys that and add that to this video. Okay guys, here's where we're at. A 2017 F350 crew cab with a short bed. This is what the pre-drilled holes look like. It's already got the L brackets on the inside on both sides. But it came with a sprayed in bed liner, Line-X bed liner. So the dimples were non-existent or were under the bed liner. So I had to do my own measurements, because the measurements I found online were incorrect and did not match up. So hopefully what I found and drilled is correct, and this entire hitch or Ford fifth wheel gooseneck prep package is going to line up just the way I need it to. So what I've done so far is I'll give you the measurements on another video and attach it to the front end of this. I've taken off the 8 bolts. I've drilled the holes took off these bolts, which I'm not sure if I really needed to at this point. And I propped up the bed, which might go a little bit on the driver's side. I just used the cross beam that's already there, and I'm gonna feed it in through the passenger side. I've also taken off the tailgate and dropped the spare tire. But on the passenger side, I've lifted it with 2 blocks to give a little extra room. So hopefully I can slide it across, being extra careful not to damage all the wiring stuff over there, because this hitch is pretty heavy. And lay it on top of there after I get these other pieces. So I'll take some photos as I go, and we'll see how everything lines up when I'm done. Okay, here's where we're at. Everything's installed. Sorry I didn't show me adding all the bolts, lowering and raising the bed, everything like that. I actually had to block it up quite a few inches to get a wrench in there just right. There's a pin right there that the bed sits on, and I've got all the bolt holes lined back up. Everything's torqued down. I haven't bolted it back down or anything like that. So here's what it looks like underneath. There's a pin right there that the bed is sitting on as well. Everything else is lined up. Bolt holes for the bed lined back up. And there's the hitch. So I guess my measurements were correct. Thank God. That could have been a bad day. So we'll see what it looks like when it's done.